Hey guys, Jeff Model here. Welcome to my channel. This week we're talking about how do you underestimate your project?
He don't know what he's doing! Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Fabio Palvelli and I'm a designer. Every week on my channel I share a little bit of my life on video, as well as tips and tricks on how to be a better designer and how to lead a much more fulfilling professional design career. Who you just saw, that's my friend Jeff. He's going to be speaking at the CG Talk, an event that I've helped organizing here in Tel Aviv. There will be a vlog that I'm going to share with you in the next few days, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Today I want to answer a question from Instagram that some of you have asked me. Hi Fabio, I have an issue that has happened too often in the past with some clients. I offered a price that was too low for the work that I ended up doing. How do I deal with raising my price now that my client is coming back? Okay, so this is not the first time that this question comes up on my channel. Also, just to give you a little bit of a context, this message is sent to me by somebody that makes renderings for architects and developers. I will try to break down the way that I would deal with this issue, and maybe you can find some value in what I have to say. Now, first of all, did you underestimate the project because you did not manage the client correctly and then ended up doing more work? Or did you underestimate it because of other reasons? Did the client make mistakes that you had to fix at your own expenses, for instance? You see, I would need a little bit more information to give you a proper answer. But anyway, now it is very important, I say this all the time, at the beginning of a project, you and your client should have a startup meeting where you can ask questions so to know exactly the scope of the work that you're about to produce. The more relevant questions you can ask, the better you can help your client with their projects. The more questions you ask to your client, the easier it will be for you to understand the type of work that you have to do, and the easier it will be for you to make a contract about the work that you have to make. And as a consequence, the easier it is going to be for you to estimate the price of your performance. Now, when you have all the answers, make a contract, always. A contract is needed to establish the rules of the game, if you like. And it's also a design tool that contains everything that you're going to make for your clients. So, spend the time and make a contract. It is also the only way that you can protect yourself in case something goes wrong. Also, another suggestion that I can give you is get paid a deposit of at least 50% upfront. By doing this, you reduce the possibility for you to get burned. Now, some artists complain and they say that clients will not pay a deposit. I say this is not correct. Probably it is that you just don't know how to get paid in advance. But these are all things that can be fixed if you're willing to fix them. I will make a video in the future about how to make a proper contract, but for now, all you need to know is that you should include in the contract the most important points, such as all the things that you need to in order to start a project, so all the drawings, mood boards, selection of furniture if you're making a visualization of some interior spaces, or any specific assets or requests that the client might ask for, any precedent of work that the client might be looking for. Even if you might be specialized in some specific type of work, it is always important to try and understand in which direction your client is trying to move. So maybe one thing that can help you, have them including also a small description of the work that they want from you. You can also rewrite the brief, like we heard a couple of weeks ago from Paul Nichols of Factory 15, rewrite the brief of the project and having the client approving it. That way you will know that you have understood everything that your client is looking for. Also, you need to establish that when the project starts, there is no interference in the process from the client side. So if the client sends you inputs during the process of design, you should tell your client to wait until the first round of feedback/revisions. Also, include a timeline with which your client can know things like when and how to react to the feedback, or when making payments, for instance. Now, all this info that I gave you, they can all be put in the same contract. The more information you have, the better it is for you to manage the project. Now, usually the mismanagement of clients is more often than not a communication issue, and it takes time and experience to learn how to do it correctly. Now, sometimes clients abuse of your availability as a designer. You finish a project and they will ask you to redraw another project because the design changed completely. Sometimes this might happen because the client completely changed their mind. Some other times this happened because your images provided sort of like a visual feedback that your client used to feed back changes to their design. And this is not a bad thing, it is a great thing actually, because it means that you have proven yourself very useful with your work. But in the case that this happens, you need to put your foot down and talk to your client and tell them to pay for any additional work that you'll have to do, if of course this was not calculated in your initial offer. Now, if despite everything you work with a client and realize that you priced the project too low because, I don't know, maybe it's a difficult client to work with, or because you usually end up doing more work than you bargained for, then you need to be ready to speak up and let them know that. Now, personally, when it comes to value and pricing, if you have to raise your prices, I think that the best communication method is to really be honest and direct. I would tell my client something like this: look, dear client, based on our previous work experience that we had together, I need to adjust my rates 10%, 50%, maybe even 200% if it's needed. I mean, you gotta be realistic. The problem is that often young designers, when they jump into their solo careers and they try to run their business without having enough previous experience, they so often underestimate the initial price for their services. Then it becomes more difficult for you to close that reality gap between what you might have thought was a fair price for your work and what is actually needed for you to run your business. I'll give you an example. If you make a rendering for 200 euros for a client and then you realize that you actually need 1K to make a good image, it becomes really difficult for you to close that 800 euros gap. Reason why I think it is best to first gain enough experience before going into freelancing. Not only as an artist, but also as a person on the front line. You know, talking to clients and knowing about costs, time of execution, delivery, and so on and so forth. I remember once I got asked at a conference, it was a young student, Fabio, how much do you think I should ask for making a rendering if I'm just starting out? And I say to that person, whatever you think that you want to charge, take that number and multiply it by 5. And I was just trying to be funny, I was trying to joke around, but in my experience, all students and young artists going into the business of making images, they start doing this with prices which are way too cheap. And I just want the best for you guys. And I don't want you to kill yourself for 100 euros per image, because it is crazy and there is no lesson that you will learn from charging 100 euros per image. You will just end up ruining and hating the industry at the same time. So, you know, what's the point? Anyway, maybe this is a quick video. I don't know at this point anymore, I'll be blabbling for too long. I really hope you find some value in this. I guess this is everything. See you guys next time.